another late night. I'm down to 3 fingers of cheap bourbon, my last lucky, and a gnawing feeling in my gut that I'll never get to the bottom of this case. It all happened last week. One day last week, in fact. July 23rd, 1937. Why Bronson Barnard invited me in the maiden voyage of his new flying boat was a mystery to me. But then, to a detective, mysteries are common. That is, unknowns are common. Sometimes I know who's guilty. Sometimes I don't. But even when I do, I still have to find out how they did it, when, and why. The first 3 things you learn in detective school: means, opportunity, and motive. That's how it was with this one. I call it the case of the cautious Condor. Stateroom 3 was as ritzy as the others, complete down to the crystal decanters and the Persian rugs. The card on the door said it was occupied by Cabron, Schnorrer, and me. Too bad Barnard didn't let us choose our own roommates. I was alone in Stateroom 3. Jagdish Mehta is a graduate student at Georgetown University. He's a simple sort of man. Most would think him an unlikely suspect for murder. But he is passionate about achieving the independence of India from the British, and will pursue any opportunity to gain influential support for his cause. I found myself in the aft observation deck, which had been designed like a garden room with live plants and a potted palm. I could hear tropical birds, but as I looked around, I couldn't find the source. No doubt one of Barnard's gadgets again. Madame Marushka Petrovka is an enigma, a sultry woman of mystery, yet passionate about world politics, especially when it relates to Russia and the Bolshevik Revolution. World-traveled, she seems to be a woman of independent means, outspoken, with a talent for intimidating the arrogant and self-important who cross her path. The forward observation deck was a large cabin with high-backed recliners facing windows that gave a great view out the front of the plane. I hate to admit it, but I need your help on this case. I couldn't be everywhere on that short trip, so I must have missed some clues. Use the screen pointer to select a room for me to go to, and we'll see what happens there. If you want to search a room, select the magnifying glass. To accuse one of the suspects, select the handcuffs. Remember, you'll need means, motive, and opportunity to get a confession. But you never know what a nervous suspect will reveal if you lean on him a little. To see how much time you have left before the plane lands, select the watch. Select any of the suspect's pictures, and I'll show you Barnard's notebook. The notebook contains background, means, motives, and opportunity. Select any of these, and I'll tell you what we know so far. I usually wait until after my suspects stop speaking to make my accusations or check the notebook. You never know what information you might miss if you interrupt them. Good luck, pal. This is a cagey bunch, so don't give up until you catch the rat that killed Gerald Weltner. Now, the forward lounge looks like the place to be. A bar, tended by a big Belgian named Henri. A 4-piece combo that could really blow a tune. Room to dance. And enough tables and chairs to throw a real party. The galley was small, but had everything to cater to the worldly taste of a guy like Barnard. I also noticed several storage cabinets and closets that seemed to have everything necessary for the smooth operation of a class act like the Condor. Lady Waddington is the wife of Sir Reginald Waddington, a member of the British House of Lords. A worldly socialite, she's a member of that exclusive circle of blue-noses who scoff at world events and amuse themselves by flattering each other at lavish parties, getting mention in the society pages, and measuring their stature by their ranking in the social register. In other words, a real bore. Hyacinthia Dunn is a Southern belle who happens to own a large and prosperous tobacco plantation. She seems to have forgotten the Civil War even occurred, preferring to live in an antebellum fantasy where the landed gentry are the only people of consequence. Her naivete about the world is sometimes comical, but she simply bats her eyes and flutters about from one faux pas to another. Lady Waddington, I'd have thought you'd be with the rest of the guests. There's quite a party going on in the forward lounge.
Mr. Peters, I am most disturbed about the circumstances of this voyage. Now, I was under the impression that this was an exclusive occasion. Well, imagine my surprise when I saw the guest list. Why, there are hardly any people of social standing aboard. I mean, really? A motion picture actress? And that nasty little Hindu man. He has been harassing me for weeks. And now to find him invited on what should be the social event of the season. Well, I can understand. Weren't you and Mr. Bernard previously acquainted?
Yeah, we flew together during the war, but we haven't been that close. I'm a private detective, so we run in slightly different circles.
Oh, my, how interesting. Are you along for business or pleasure?
A little of both, Lady Waddington. A little of both. A fellow was murdered down in Arlington a few weeks ago, and I'm just tying up a few loose ends. It seems a number of the guests aboard today were acquainted with the deceased, Mr. Gerald Weltner. Ever hear the name?
No, I don't believe I have. But then sordid things like murder never happened in polite society. However, that vulgar Russian woman seems capable of almost anything, if you ask me.
The aft lounge was a comfortable cabin, complete with a well-stocked bar, red leather chairs, and a poker table covered with green felt. I noticed the latest electric gramophone in the corner. Barnard always had to have the latest inventions. Like all the staterooms, number 2 had all handmade furnishings. Barnard had created the only way to travel, short of strapping engines on the Waldorf Astoria. The card on the door said it was occupied by Shepard, Waddington, Petrovka, and Dunn. Vera Simmons is a reporter for the Washington Tribune, and a good one, too. She's on this flight because she was following the story on the congressional investigation of corruption within the Customs Department. When Weltner was murdered before he could be subpoenaed to testify, she started digging and knows a lot about everybody on board the Condor. I hate to admit it, but I need your help on this case. I couldn't be everywhere on that short trip, so I must have missed some clues. Use the screen pointer to select a room for me to go to, and we'll see what happens there. If you want to search a room, select the magnifying glass. To accuse one of the suspects, select the handcuffs. Remember, you'll need means, motive, and opportunity to get a confession. But you never know what a nervous suspect will reveal if you lean on him a little. To see how much time you have left before the plane lands, select the watch. Select any of the suspect's pictures, and I'll show you Barnard's notebook. The notebook contains background, means, motives, and opportunity. Select any of these, and I'll tell you what we know so far. I usually wait until after my suspects stop speaking to make my accusations or check the notebook. You never know what information you might miss if you interrupt them. Good luck, pal. This is a cagey bunch, so don't give up until you catch the rat that killed Gerald Weltner. As I rummaged through the frilly underthings of Shepard, Petrovka, and Dunn, I kept reminding myself it was in the line of duty. I knew the only way to solve this mystery was to know as much about my suspects as possible. Lady Waddington's steamer trunks yielded nothing but the knowledge that she had overpacked an abundance of boring clothing. I was sure I had found anything of interest in stateroom number 2. A search of Cabron's personal belongings revealed only a variety of colognes, hair tonics, and mustache wax. But in Schnorrer's suitcase, I found a letter dated a few weeks before from the King of Egypt, thanking Schnorrer for the assistance he had given to the prince, and promising to make the arrangements with Weltner that Schnorrer had requested. This would bear further investigation. I was alone in stateroom 3. Prince Mohammed Aziz Farouk is the Crown Prince of Egypt. Although since his cousin, King Farouk, is only 17 years old, there's not much chance he'll ever shine his pants on the royal throne. He's in America to attend Georgetown University, but he's more devoted to the less demanding studies offered in the Washington, D.C. and Baltimore nightclubs. He's currently the escort of Wanda Shepherd, and a rather jealous one at that. He has somewhat of a temper and is given to invoking Islamic curses at the drop of a fez.